Hi, this is Neve Arthur, the Stay-at-Home Family. This is something like my 17th take of this video. I'm really struggling with this one, and the reason is because, well, it came out of an idea I read in a book called What the Dog Saw by Malcolm Gladwell. And in it, he talked about how people like to not just know what other people do, but to kind of see the world through other people's eyes. So if you bump into a doctor at a cocktail party, you're like, ooh, what's it like to work with sick people all the time? You know, and what's it like to be you, basically, because it's something different, you know, from what you are, so you want to know. So I thought, well, people would want to know what it's like to be a, you know, 5-figure-a-month earner from a blog, you know, to be making a 6-figure-a-year income from a blog. You know, that's not something a lot of people have achieved, so a lot of people would love to know what that's like. So I decided to make a video that's kind of like a day in the life and a little bit about how I think. And oh my gosh, I keep getting halfway through the video and going, this is so unbelievably boring. No one cares. but I'm just going to do my best to keep it short and sweet and hopefully interesting. And just get it done. So really, what do I do kind of day to day? Well, I actually only work about 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. I get up in the morning, and the most important thing as a blogger is to get your wheels turning, is to get your brain moving, because the biggest challenges are self-doubt, fear, and writer's block. And writer's block comes from fear and self-doubt. So the most important thing is, before you sit down to try and work, is to get the wheels turning. So I usually get up, get my daughter up, take her to school, and on the way to school I listen to kind of inspiring and informative audios. So I listen to these inner circle audios from the blogging community that I'm a part of, and they're mostly interviews with people who are earning the kind of income I'm earning, and much more. And it's really helpful because it kind of gives me an insight into how they think, and it also helps me to come up with endless ideas, because as you're learning, you're kind of applying it to your own life, thinking, and going, oh, how does that apply to me? Oh, that's interesting. How could I use that? And you're learning how people think. So you're learning how people who are earning even more than you think. So I listen to that on the way to dropping my daughter off, and then by the time I get home, usually my brain is kind of started, and at that point, then I get my coffee. Yes, I'm a coffee addict. But at that point, I get my coffee, and then that's usually when my creative buzz kicks in. So, you know, Mike is kind of watching our other child, so that I can just have that time to just be really focused. And I'm upstairs in my home office, and that's usually when I create my content, which is usually a video like this, or blog posts, writing blog posts. I love writing blog posts, but I find that people sometimes respond a little bit better to videos, and seem to prefer videos a little bit. So I'm trying to do a bit of both. But, you know, on days like today where I'm struggling a little bit, I feel like my coffee never quite kicked in, so my brain never quite got going. But yeah, so what I do is I create my content then, and I go and I share it in a couple of social media platforms. I share it on my Facebook fan page, I share it on Twitter, I share it on Facebook, and kind of generally get it around to my audience. And I try and make sure it's something that's interesting to them, relevant to them, and has a little bit of me in it. You know, I used to do blog posts that were all like how to do this, how to do that. They had absolutely no spice to them, no personality to them, and I found that the people that I was, you know, getting as an audience were incredibly professional, but we didn't have a lot in common. So it wasn't that great. And as soon as I started to put more of myself in, I started to get to reach more people who are a lot like me, and, you know, I would be friends with in real life, and a lot of them have now become my friends. But I kind of really worked on just actually being freer with it, being easier with it. And when I wasn't so worried about what I was coming off like, and I just was like, I'm just going to record a video, I'm just going to write a blog post, that just naturally came out. So that was really, really helpful. So after that, I usually kind of socialize a little bit, hang out a bit with people online. Sometimes I place ads or do a little bit of marketing, and then if I have something that's working, I just kind of double check on it and see how things are going. But the main thing that I do is creating the content and doing a little bit of socializing. Then, I go and collect my daughter, and then at that point, I consider it family time, and I spend time with my family. And really, though, what's really interesting is that the more you blog, the more you start to think like a blog. The more you start to get creative, the more you start to see everything through the eyes of how you could blog about it. And the random little things that happen in your life become these great insights. And what's really interesting about it is that when you're looking out for insights, you actually start to just improve. Your thinking will naturally improve. I'm putting in the input in the morning of the Inner Circle audios, which totally teach me how to think differently. And then I'm applying it every day by kind of looking at the world through the eyes of a blog post, so as I'm doing my dishes, I think about how I could blog about it. As I'm, playing with my kids, I think about how it would make a great blog. It can get really extreme, you can be changing a diaper going, oh, the consistency of baby poo would make such an interesting insight. And there's some things that you have to draw a line at going, no one wants to know about your baby's poo. But you start to just think and think, and the wheels start to turn throughout your day, so that then the next day when you sit down to do your content, you already have stuff ready. So really most of my day is spent kind of hanging out with my family, and then right at the end, right before I go to bed, I usually do a bit of reading. So I make sure that I'm putting input into my brain every day, and then just allowing it to think and allowing it to be. And I find that if you have a high priority of being yourself and figuring out a little bit day by day who you are, that it starts to come out in your blog post, and you start to get a bigger and better audience. I often have a couple projects going on. So at the moment I'm working on writing some emails to go on my email autoresponder, because I just thought it's about time that I updated it with a few more stories now that I have some more interesting stories to share. And I'm also working on my team site, which teaches other people how to follow the step-by-step path that I took, to become a really successful blogger. So I think I'm on day 4 of that. So I'm doing a day by day, getting your blog going and getting off going in this direction. So that's kind of what the world is like through my eyes. I really think blogging is all about improving your mind every single day. And you do that by reading. You do that by listening to people who've done what you want to do. And you do it by creating content so that you start to think about insights into your life. And that's it. So I hope this has been interesting for you. I hope that you have a little bit more of an idea of what it takes to be a successful blogger. It really just takes kind of forcing your brain to think a little bit, and it's not that hard once you've created a habit. The main thing is to have a good income stream worked into your blog, so that then you don't have to worry about that side. You can just focus on writing the actual blog. So that's what I've done. I've focused on the blog, let the income take care of itself because of the built-in income stream that I have on my blog. So if you want to earn the kind of money I earn on a blog, I would really highly suggest you take a look at the blogging platform that I use that has that income stream attached. And also then you'd get to work with me, be part of my team, and go through the kind of process that my team goes through to follow the step-by-step path. So you can learn more about that by clicking the link. It'll either be above or below this video, and watching the video on the next page so that you can learn more about how I've done this and more about how to have days like my days. And yes, I did it! I got through my video without having a total freak out. So, yay! So click the link above or below, and I will see you on the next page.